What it is, what it do. JQilin here with a different kind of video. I was going to make this more professional, but I decided nah, I just want to make this casual instead. This is going to be my review for Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I'm going to do it spoiler free first, then I'm going to spend the rest of the video talking about it spoiler filled, because there's really no true way to really talk about this game and review it unless I talk about everything in detail. So I'm going to be sure to differentiate which part is which. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you have a part of the video that you can watch. But if you don't really care about that kind of stuff, or you already played the game, then you can just keep watching after that fact and listen to what I have to say, because I do have a lot to say about this game. This game means a lot, not only just to me, but to the channel as well, because the channel wouldn't be where it is at this point if it wasn't for DDLC as a whole. So without any further ado, let's get started. So Doki Doki Literature Club Plus was a remastered version of the Doki Doki Literature Club game that came out in 2017 by Dan Salvato and the people that worked with him, Team Salvato, that worked to create this phenomenon of a game that came basically out of nowhere. A psychological horror that subtly messes with the mind of people, that comes under the guise of a dating sim, is something that took many people by surprise. And I would say this game, for even though Doki Doki Literature Club Plus was charged like $15 unless you bought it like the pre-sale, which is like $13.50. You do get a lot of value out of this. You get updated game with little differences from the original game. That if you played the original game well enough, you can see the differences. You get a whole bunch of new side stories where you get to see the new characters in a different. You get to see the same characters in new scenarios, and you get to see them in a different light. The side stories themselves, I think, are well worth paying for because they're actually that well written. And I'm not gonna lie, at some points I really did want to cry when I read those side stories. And if you haven't seen them already, I do have a whole playlist of all the side stories I made. And aside from that, you do get some new features, and you do get access to all the music and even new arrangements that they made as well for the game too, which I actually thought was pretty cool. And some of these new arrangements are actually very well made. They're actually pretty enjoyable to listen to. Overall, I would say that this game, DDLC Plus, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, actually does justice to the original game that came out 4 years ago at this point. And if you're a fan of the game, if you're a fan of things that mess with your head, then you'll definitely get a lot out of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So I would say I'd give it about 3 Dokis out of 4, or 4 Dokis out of 5 if you count the MC as Doki. I would say it's definitely, if you're a fan of the game, I would say it's definitely worth getting into. So that's the spoiler-free version of this review. Now, I'm going to go to the spoiler-filled section of this review. So you've been warned. But I think if I had to start anywhere, I'd start with the side stories, because man, I'll be honest with you, I did want to cry after reading some of the side stories. Especially the first one, Trust. When you get to the end and you see, like, when you see Sayori like breaking down Monika's arms, talking about how much she hates herself, but sometimes she just wants to die, and Monika just had to sit there and be the rock for her, even though Monika wanted nothing more than to cry right there with her. That was powerful. I wanted to cry right when I saw that. I didn't, but I wanted to, because it was just that well written. The next side story, I think it was Understanding, when Yuri is breaking down crying because of how she feels and how alone she feels, and Sayori had to be the rock for her when Sayori needed someone else to be her rock previously. I wanted to cry then too, because that was a very well made side story. The third one, Respect, with Monika and Natsuki, when Monika tells Natsuki that she wanted to play piano because of reading the manga, and that gave her courage to do that. I thought that was very touching. That was a very well made side story in itself. Balance, didn't want to make me cry, but the interactions between Natsuki and Sayori was very good. The artwork for the siege in that scene was actually very good too. I really enjoyed that. So let's see, I was down. Reflection. Reflection was very good too, because it was actually nice to see. It was actually nice to see the perspective of Monika and Yuri and how Yuri wanted to better handle her relationship with Sayori. No, not Sayori, with Natsuki, because in the side stories you really get to see that they're both a lot alike, but not actually. But the way I see it, they're both like two sides of the same coin. Lastly, you get the self-love, which is the conclusion of the story arc that was previously began in Reflection. And self-love is honestly probably my favorite side story out of all of them, because just the dynamic between, just the overall dynamic between Natsuki and Yuri. And when Natsuki was talking about how much she hated herself and how her cupcakes were the only thing that made people happy, and Yuri was like, "No, you make me happy. I think you're worth, like, some people think you're worth more than your cupcakes." Dog. Seeing the character development between Natsuki and Yuri from Reflection to that point in self-love, that made me want to cry right then and there, because just how touching it was. And then seeing Yuri help Natsuki with her panic attack, that was pretty emotional in and of itself too, because it just shows how much closer they came together as friends. And then the last side story, Equals, was a nice way to tie a bow on the side stories, because you just get to see them all come together and really be friends, and really show that they have an understanding of what it means to be a club with each other. Because a club isn't just a place for you to bond together and over mutual interests. It's also a way for you to make new friends and create new bonds, and you really get to see that with these side stories. It's just like all 6 stories just show so much character development. They show so much growth with each of the characters that they follow. They're so well written. They're really funny when they want to be. You know, they're serious when they want to be. They're very emotional when they need to be. They address the problems that each of the characters face, but it doesn't seem like it's in a way that it's over the top or like poorly mishandled. And in the side stories, they make the girls feel more like actual people and actual characters, instead of just, you know, kind of like basic tropes that they were in, you know, the base game. But that's kind of what they were going for in the base game, to lull you into a false sense of security. But that's why I really appreciate what they do with the side stories. And at first, I remember when I finished playing, I said to myself that, well, this makes you feel even sadder, because you see how well these characters come together. Then you realize what happens in the base game, where Monika basically kind of pushes you away from all the other girls by having all the other girls off themselves. But then you learn that based on the lore of the game, that the side stories are a separate universe from the base game, and that all of the DDLC games are just actually separate universes created by some group of computer and AI engineers working for some metaverse company that just creates a bunch of virtual universes and sells them to people. And they decided, hey, for the purpose of data collection, let's just create a virtual universe and disguise it as a video game, you know? It might be fun. And hey, let's give one of the characters in the game the knowledge that she's in the game and see how that goes. You know, it's like pretty twisted in of itself, but hey, I mean, that in terms of like meta stuff, because it seems like Dan's very into meta stuff, but base DDLC was super meta, and this game I would say is even more meta than this, with the whole like B plot of the Metaverse team and Team Salvation, which was a meta team within the Metaverse team, who were secretly creating this Doki Doki universe to save their jobs. That in itself is like extremely meta, and if you take the time to actually find all the secret files and things like that, it's actually pretty cool to see the story unfold, and you get to learn more about the people that made this happen, or at least the people that made this happen according to the story. I would have done a secrets video and stuff like that, but there are already so many people that covered the secrets for this game and everything. I didn't feel the need to. But I mean, overall, I just can't really say there's I don't know, there's only so much I could say about this game. Like I said, the base game was cool. I remember when I first saw the base game, how much the elements were shocking. When I saw Sayuri die for the first time, that was shocking. When I saw Yuri die for the first time, that was shocking. And I remember I said to myself, I would love to get the opportunity to play this game and have other people enjoy it. And here I am right now doing just that, you know. There's really I can't say enough good things about this game. Now, of course, this game isn't perfect. There were some glitches in it that were kind of weird. I remember playing one time and I just see Yuri pop out. I'm still on like the menu screen, but the game's still playing and I'm on the menu screen. I'm like, well, that's odd. Like I said, in the base game too, how some of the characters are just, you know, like not people, but just like stereotypes. That's kind of lame because you don't really want to care about them too much because they're just stereotypes, not people. Though I understand why they're written that way, because it's to lull you into a false sense of, okay, it's just kind of a weird dating sim, and then boom, it's not a dating sim anymore, it's actually a horror game. And you're wondering what's going to happen next. And do I like the fact that a majority of this game is just kind of rehashing from the base game? Not necessarily, but that's what the side stories are for. And another thing I don't like is if you're trying to 100% the game, it's very difficult because you have to sit there and restart the game multiple times to get all the secret poems, and that in itself is extremely difficult. If there was a way to guarantee or to make it easy for you to get the secret poems, it wouldn't be that bad. But no, you literally have to sit there and restart the game multiple times. That wasn't fun. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I wasted so many hours trying to do that, just for the sake of creating a guide to 100% the game. Which I'm happy I did, by the way, because I think that would help a lot of people actually 100% the game. But to end things off, I just want to say that I'm very grateful for this game as a whole and what it has meant for me, is meant for my channel, and is meant for all the people that have played on this game. There are a lot of great people out there that are part of this community and part of the arena of people who play DDLC. And I'm grateful to be a part of it, and two is just I'm grateful for everything this game has given to me. This game has made me laugh, it's made me emotional, and overall it's just given like so many people like great experiences. And I'm happy to say that I'm able to be one of those people that had great experiences. And I'm very happy to see a lot of other people like get great experience out of this too, whether it's by watching me play it, whether it's by watching other people play it, whether it's you creating your own mods or based on these characters. I'd say that in itself is really cool too. So I really have to thank Team Salvato, Dan Salvato, Satchely, and all the people who made Doki Doki Literature Club happen, because you've changed the lives of so many people. I would say for the better, really, because you created something so memorable, and I would probably say nearly timeless, because it's not just the game in itself, but it's the momentum and the community behind it. And I think we're all excited to see where the direction is going to be taken next. So I would say, in terms of the overall game, like I said, if you're a fan of Doki Doki Literature Club, and if you're a fan of what Team Salvato is doing, I would say that this game is worth more getting than not. If you're somebody who's new to visual novels, this might not be something you might enjoy, unless this is just something that's really striking to you. If you're somebody who is very particular about how mental illnesses and things like that are handled, you may not enjoy the base game as much. You might enjoy the side stories a little bit more, because at least in the side stories, it seems like they handle their traumas and things like that a bit better and a bit more tastefully. In the base game, like I said, not so much, but the point of the base game wasn't to handle the mental illnesses and things like that tastefully. The point of it was to, kind of put you on edge, because you're wondering what the heck is going to happen. In any case, I want to thank you guys for listening to me ramble on and on about this game. But like I said, I just feel like I need to get this out there, because I wanted to talk about how much this game meant to me and how much I thoroughly enjoyed it. this is going to be my last Doki Doki Literature Club Plus video for the channel, and I don't know where I want to take the channel after this though, to be honest with you, but I'll still play DDLC mods and things like that, and if there's anything new from Team Saval that comes out, I'll play that too, because I think one, I think I should, and two, Dan and his team haven't disappointed us yet, so we'll see what they have in store for us. But in any case, it's been real. This is fun. It's your boy JQilin. Ciao for now.